everything is awesome, but you know what's particularly awesome? It is the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Yes, precious 25 years old, give a month or so, give or take. And they are doing a re release of the theatrical versions in the theaters. Now, I may not be going because they do that a lot. And not to make it anything special, but I did, it wasn't too long ago that I saw it again in the cinema. But you know what? I probably will be going anyways after I've said all of this. For one thing, I want to get the popcorn bucket, but also I want to show my support because this is good Lord of the Rings. This is good entertainment. And many people think that this was the last good trilogy. And they would not be wrong, in my humble opinion, not one little bit. But you look who is here. Oh, I'm here. Yay! But who else is here? It is Snortapoopa Scooper, Ho-Ho Humans, and other critters. Yes, we love our animals here at Miss Martin Muses. How-woo. And he goes, The Lord of the Rings? Never heard of it. Yes. And of course, we're talking about the movies, not the books, though, of course, the books are unparalleled and perfect. Yes, they are precious. The books, rather, are. Just the best fantasy there will ever be and will never be surpassed. Not one little bit, because it's very difficult to surpass perfection. Now, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, though, got well-deserved accolades and was a well-deserved, humongous success. I will love them till the day I die. However, they're not perfect. And so we are not afraid to criticize Peter Jackson and the Lord of the Rings and perhaps into the individual movies or certain aspects of it if we, if we feel that way. We do not have to be defensive. We are not like the left. Well, look at everyone who's coming in. Thank you for being here. Great here. I guess these are mid-evening musings. It is Ubaldo. Hello, everybody. Darth Vader. We love Darth Vader here at Miss Martin Muses. Yes, we do indeed. So thank you for being here. Yeah, YouTube's being weirdo, so please make sure that you're subscribed. I know I'm not the only one who's been having this situation, and to a certain degree, I gave up crying into my coffee a long time ago because I think that algorithm chasing or trying to figure out what's going on with these kind of things is a short route to unhappiness. And I don't want to be unhappy. I want to be happy because we have only one life to live. But still, wish they wouldn't be butt heads. So please double check. And memberships are almost on the way, if not on the way. If not coming. I finally figured out a way that I think is fair, where I can give something back to the community and those that wish to become members on my channel, while also in my limited availability, not feel like I'm cheating y'all. So stay tuned. It is at RRTNZ. Thank you for being here. Always great to see you. Oh my goodness gracious, precious. We have a super chat all the way from New Zealand, a New Zealand $5, where the Lord of the Rings was. It was indeed filmed. Okay, I think this might be a very epic super chat. Though, well, all super chats are epic, but this particularly, I can finish the stream for you. Nice. I know what that means. Best trilogy ever made. Near perfect films. Every child should watch them. Okay, now you can take the night off. Oh, well, thank you. That's a little bit of the line. I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you. Oh, dear. There we are. I thought, at least I think that's what you were going for. Or you're saying, I can finish the stream for you. Okay, best trilogy ever. Yes, indeed. Well, please, everyone, share your memories of the Lord of the Rings trilogy as each of the movies came out. Now, I remember seeing the trailer for the first time, and you just see, or rather you hear Gandalf's voice going, legend tells of a ring. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And then it's like one ring to rule them all, one ring to find them and bring them all, and in the darkness find them. And you see kind of the ring fly up in the air, Frodo's hand catch it, and then they have that standard classical music, dun, 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 and oh, it was so exciting. We couldn't wait. I mean, we saw the very first showing, me and my friends, and we were like jumping. We were so freaking excited. It was amazing. And it did. It turned out to be everything that we wish. Citizen Ronan is here for Frodo. Yes, for Frodo. I've seen a really funny meme where they're all yelling, yeah, for Frodo. And then there's random Gondorian soldier going, who's Frodo? Yeah. Jordan Pippas Cooper said, the reason I visited New Zealand in 2006, I wanted to visit where the movies were made and eat a ton of lambs. Of course, lambs is precious. My dad, he got to go there. He was there on business, and he took a picture of the Gollum airplane because, like, Gollum was painted on an airplane. Yes, welcome. Yes, welcome, Citizen Ronan. See, LOL. Hello. Please share your memories. Like, that's one of my best memories. Oh, shoot. I almost forgot. Here we go. Here we go. If you send a super chat, you get a marvelous rose. Thank you very much. I guess it's summer down there for you. Well done. It's not for us, but that's okay because where I am, winter is not very wintry. And everyone who lives in the north hates my guts. So, yeah. Not going to worry too much about it. But yeah, 1190. Help me out here. Maybe give me 1191. I want to get to Agincourt. And if you're French, I completely beg your forgiveness. I want to get to, will no one rid me of this meddling priest? Actually, I might have, now that I'm thinking about it. Let me see. Yeah, because when I got to 1066, I was so excited. I was like beside myself. And then so many people didn't realize that the significance of getting to sin to 66. Because of the Battle of Hastings. Yes. And, well, the land of J.R. Tolkien. RRTNZ says, sadly, they didn't use as much of New Zealand's amazing landscapes for The Hobbit. The part I was in was all green screened. Oh, well, that's cool. So you were there and as an extra or something? Or, wow, amazing. Citizen Ronan says, my memory is going to be the first showing and the audio cut out during the cave troll fight. Oh, hail. Oh, hail no. I found the Hobbit movies disappointing. Yes, I was very disappointed in the Hobbit movies, though to a certain degree, they were exactly what I expected when I realized they were going to try to stretch it out for over 3 movies. There is a Hobbit cut or where they only take the parts that were from the books, and I hear that's pretty good. When they followed the scenes from the books, I thought it was very well done. Very well done indeed. I hope I don't have to give back my history degree. Let's see. Oh, thank goodness. I do not. I already passed. Well, okay, I did pass. Can't believe I didn't get it. I did pass the Thomas Becket. But I'll catch another one, I promise you. How could I have missed it? Well, life has been happening to me, so I will not be ashamed of myself. So, hello everyone. Please share your memories of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Okay, our TNZ is explaining. I was an extra in The Hobbit. I'm in the first film for 7 seconds, unrecognizable under a wig, beard, and prosthetic nose forehead. Oh, that's the best disguise. Yes. Now, the music from The Hobbit is incomparable, especially from the first movie. The Misty Mountain song. Oh, that is so amazing. The music, no one can fault the music in that, in my humble opinion. Let me see. But yes, the Lord of the Rings trilogy, I mean, we finally had the technology to do it right. And then when we heard like they were filming it all at the same time, I mean, my goodness gracious, how could we not, just be happy little campers. I mean, it was just so good. It was so good. The music was so good. I remember after the Fellowship of the Ring being pleasantly surprised that I didn't completely despise the Arwen stuff. There had been so many rumors, which apparently turned out to be true. They really were planning to have her at Helm's Deep. Rather, they actually had her at Helm's Deep and edited her out, thank goodness, because that just was, awful. But it was tolerable. Still not ideal, but it was tolerable. The music, the fellowship theme, the oh my gosh, the Hobbit theme and the May It Be song, and in Dreams, the one with the little choir boy singing. I remember being just knocked off my socks or out of my socks by Boromir. He was definitely the MVP, and even to this day, he is to me the MVP. Sean Beam did an amazing job. Makes you cry, still makes me cry. I remember I recently rewatched the trilogy at home. See it in the cinema all the time, but at home, it was when The Rings of Power was coming out, and I was like, I'm gonna watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy instead of that garbage. And I was just boo-hoo, and it's like I can't get on the phone because someone wanted to talk right now. I just saw Boromir die, and they're like, oh my gosh, how many times have you seen it? It's like, well, it's never fails, never fails. Ubaldo says, I have been a fan since the late 70s when I read the book. Yay! So my excitement was out of this world. Yes, weren't we all? Oh gosh. Yeah, RRTNZ says they were disappointing films, talking about The Hobbit, obviously, not the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Otherwise, I'm going to boot you from my channel. No, I won't. Everyone's allowed to have their opinion here at Miss Martin Muses compared to Lord of the Rings. I mean, I was in one of the movies and I have only seen it once. That tells you something. Yeah. Lord of the Rings is superior in every aspect. Yes, it is. But not perfect. And we're going to talk about this. RRTNZ. Speaking of which, Elves at Helm's Deep was a mistake, in my opinion. It's an unnecessary change. Made no sense that they arrived before the Uruks. Lothlorien is at least 3 times further away than Isengard, and the Uruks left first. Indeed. I think the whole Elves at Helm's Deep was a way to get Arwen there. But yeah, they were not needed. Yeah, Helm's Deep is probably the one where they make the most mistakes. There's one big, huge, no, it's not a mistake. That's too nice a word. It is not a mistake. It is a disgrace. It is a crime, and I will never, ever, 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 ever forgive Peter Jackson ever for what he did to a certain younger brother, a son of Gondor, the brilliant, the perfect Faramir. What they did to him was unforgivable. That was probably the most egregious one. Also, Helm's Deep messed up the whole parts of the battle. Though the battle was awesome. Objectively speaking, the battle was awesome. It was great, all of that. But it unfolded differently in the book, and Aemir was there fighting alongside Aragorn and all of them. So yeah, I mean, they did the part with Gandalf. That was all in there with the White Rotter returning, but Aemir was not with him. Sort of Poopus Cooper says, overall good, but they were getting carried away toward the end. What they did to Faramir was criminal. Thank you. And the scrubbing bubble scene at Minas Tirith, yucko. I would agree. Yeah. Return of the King was where they started adding silliness. Yes, we had the scrubbing bubbles. Oh my gosh, people with their loud cars and motorcycles. The rather silly surfing with the Oliphant that Orlando Bloom did. I think that had to do with partly his popularity. I mean, we knew he was awesome. In the into the Fellowship of the Ring when he's sitting there shooting his arrows super fast, being an elf and stabbing someone and then using the same one to stab someone else. We were all like, yeah. And everyone's like, yeah, they like him. So let's add this nonsense. Wait, he surfed too in the Two Towers on the shield down the stairs. Yeah, that was silly as well. Ubaldo says, family members I took to watch a movie were not another fantasy movie. But after watching the movie, everyone wanted answers from me because I was the only one who'd read them. Yes, it was the same way. I took everybody to see it. It was not your average fantasy movie because it's not. It's incomparable because it's based on incomparable material. And for the most part, Peter Jackson did a great job of adapting it. And I would argue that we are more forgiving of his deviations from everything because at the end of the day, he wanted to be faithful to the spirit, definitely, of Tolkien's work. And what he got right, he got right. And that was the vast majority of it. Now, if it turned out that he had rings that powered the whole thing, oh, we would just be pissing all over him. I got to be careful. I'm trying to be better with my language. I'm trying to be a better person. The scrubbing bubbles, says Citizen Ronan, in reality are crap. They don't clean anything. The cartoon commercial lied, Teresa. That's true. Yes. It is praise. Phil praise for you with metal. Hello. Thank you for being here. Hello. RRTNZ said, it is not a fantasy movie. It's the fantasy movie. Lord of the Rings almost created the entire genre. Yes, I have a great quote from Thomas Shippey. And of course, I'm assuming that you're talking about the books. He said that the Lord of the Rings wasn't the only fantasy work that had been done, but it was the most influential one. I don't want to misquote him. I have a video on it. He said, J.R. Tolkien showed us what could be done with fantasy. And it took its place as serious literature, though a lot of Egypts are still behind on that, but that's okay. Snortpoopa says, mention not the filthy Wangs of Power movies in Galadriel. Yes, no, indeed. Yes, no, indeed. Yeah, speaking of people who did not understand fantasy, they just thought, oh, we just throw in elves and things. People like elves, right? People liked Galadriel, right? And Elrond. They didn't realize that there is a masterful story behind it all. I have a whole series. I'm going to be going back to it most likely when I can, of the letters of J.R. Tolkien. Just his thoughts behind it all. Just genius, absolutely genius. So yes, so those are the things that were not cool. So I mean, let's start with the Fellowship of the Ring. Let's go with this in order. Let me put this down here, and please continue to share your share your thoughts and your memories. If you say Wings of Power 3 times, you summon Mara. Oh dear, yeah, Mara, she's around. I wish I could, maybe get her on. And here's the problem. It's been harder for me to get guests because I genuinely do not know when I can be on here. As you all know, that there's cancer in the family, and my sister just had some major surgery. Thank God it all went well. And thank you everyone who's been praying and sending your happy thoughts and everything. But I have an unpredictable schedule. But I do hope that you all are enjoying the content that I have here. And the books I'm going over, I'm going to be continuing with Harry Potter. I am going through The Hedge Knight. That is easily the best work of George R. R. Martin that he's done, in my humble opinion. The Hedge Knight, The Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, the TV show is coming up next. I'm also going to be doing Wuthering Heights. I don't know if anyone's going to be listening to Wuthering Heights, but by golly, I'm doing it because everyone does. I want to do more books, so I've been enjoying that. And maybe I'll go back and redo the whole Lord of the Rings thing. If you haven't seen, we went through all 3 of them, as well as the Silmarillion. It took us like 2 years or something. I mean, it was a good time. So I have that on a playlist. So in any case, great memories. Friends made over this. Really? Yeah, and I did a series of speeches. I went a little tour. So, on the Lord of the Rings and Tolkien and Catholicism, here's the thing. Everyone that tries to make up some grade A Bolshevik that Catholics were upset that a gay man was playing Gandalf. That is a lie. I promise you. I was there. No one gave a crap. Never came up once. Never came up once in any Q&A or anything. No one cared. We were bouncing off the walls just as much as everyone else. It is a lie, 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 and a lie. All right. Or I'm sorry if I keep having trouble with this. I have issues with the letter R. RRTNZ says Tolkien saw the horrors of warfare firsthand at the Somme. That and his deep faith bring an authenticity to the spirit of the books that is unmatched. Absolutely. You got it there in a boom. And if you have not read Tom Shippey's Author of the Century, that is mandatory reading if you want to maybe defend or come to a deeper appreciation of why these works are great literature, or this work. Yeah, Citizen Rona says, as a Catholic, I concur. Yeah, it wasn't there. It wasn't there. I mean, if people were upset that gay people were acting in things, you would never go to see any play, any theater. I mean, any Shakespeare. It's silly. It was made up manufacturing. They found one comment from some, I don't know, deep, who knows where message board. And yes, they brought it up to Ian McKellen, and he being the boomer that he is, and I'm not saying that in a mean way, that was before, when you actually believed things. It's like, oh, people are saying that, well, that's terrible, blah blah blah. Yes, it wasn't there, didn't exist, that they're lying, and they were only bringing this up because of the Rings of Power stuff. But no, we loved it, but yeah, I did a speech tour for all three of them. Good times, absolutely good times. So if you have a chance to go see a lecture by a Tolkien scholar, please go ahead and do so. I know Joseph Pierce is making the rounds again. He might be with this this re-release. So let me know if you're going to be seeing the re-release. And when I say the re-release, I'm saying it a little cynically because it is re-released frequently. And there's a reason for that, because it fills seats. But this one is definitely special because this is one I think that is nationwide. I don't know if this is overseas. In the 25th anniversary, that they're definitely like making a thing of this. So yes, hello everyone coming in. Share your memories of the Lord of the Rings trilogy or the Lord of the Rings books or J.R. Tolkien, because we love him. We love him here at Miss Martin Muses. Citizen Rona says Shogun is my favorite miniseries of all time. I couldn't care less that Richard Chamberlain was gay. Precisely. Yeah. RRTNZ says, in my humble opinion, the Lord of the Rings trilogy score is one of the greatest in all of cinema. Howard Shore's score, I would agree. It's certainly my favorite. Better use of leitmotif than in any other score, including Star Wars. Ooh, them's fighting words. I know what you mean. They did a great job, but man, Star Wars did it very well. Well, Star Wars did it so well, I think, because it was the first score that in a very long time had truly used the leitmotif. One could argue Jaws, but not to the extent that it did in Star Wars. But I will hear you. Yes, definitely. And I think that us not having leitmotif being featured in scores, or rather composers that aren't able to do it as well, or the source material just isn't there for them, that is a problem. I think that some of the best music being written nowadays is frankly for the video games. But that's just me. So, yes. So one of the great things about the Fellowship of the Ring, well, they made Hobbiton. And Bilbo, oh, Ian Helm, he was so good as Bilbo. And Frodo, I mean, that Elijah Wood, he held the whole movie on his back. We often talk about Sean Bean and Kellen, all of those, but man, no one does it like he does. and sometimes it's underappreciated. I think that Sam, of course, was there, and I like the way that they start with the hobbits, end with the hobbits. They showed incomparably the friendship between Frodo and Sam. We see it from the beginning. You see how they're all hanging out. They all have their local pub. They throw in the hints about Sam and Rosie. And then off they go. I mean, boom. Bilbo does what he does, disappears. Frodo gets the ring, and then Gandalf goes to study. He goes to Minas Tirith, and I always imagine that library is in that's where Faramir and all them would be studying, because he did study under Gandalf. In the books, it was 60 years, I think off the top of my head, I don't remember, but or maybe it was that Frodo was 60, but 40 years. It was several years, like before Gandalf came back and all that. But the movie did it right away, and I completely understand. So let's see. Sort of Poopus Kuber says, I won't be seeing the theatrical release, but that's because my silly bladder can't handle being trapped in a theater for half a day at a time. Yeah, tell me about it. We're all getting old, aren't we? Yes, we are. The good thing about knowing these movies backwards and forwards is I know exactly where to go to the bathroom. Harder for the Fellowship of the Ring. But in the Two Towers, it's when they get to the gate and Frodo kind of falls down, tumbles down, and he puts a cloak over him, and there's a rock, or rather the other guys see a rock. That is a perfect time to go to the bathroom because nothing really happens. You don't miss anything great and dramatic. And if you time it right, like perfectly, when the scene begins, you can get back to your seat by the end of it. And the whole, not the scrubbing bubbles, but when Aragorn and all of them are talking with the people of the dead and all that, that's the time to go in the Return of the King. Fellowship of the Ring, I guess it could be when Arwen and Frodo are being chased by the ring race, and she does the whole water thing. And I know Glorfindel is somewhere we're all like, justice, but that's a good time to go to. See, serious question says RRTNZ. In Fellowship, they show the scouring of the Shire in the Mirror of Galadriel scene, but should they have actually had the actual scouring of the Shire after oops, that's the wrong one. After Aragorn's coronation? My answer to that is no. I was perfectly fine with them not doing it. I think thematically that might have been more difficult to do. And as we all saw, we were all ready for the movie to be over. I think thematically they were able to show what it was like to come back from war and everything kind of be back to normal. I get it. I get it completely. I have no problem with them leaving out the scouring of the Shire, but I do have a problem with them in the theatrical part leaving out the conclusion to Christopher Lee storyline Saruman, and leaving out the Houses of Healing, so we could get a conclusion to Eowyn and Faramir and see Eomer and all them in the House of the Healing. That was unforgivable. And yes, talking about the 1980 Shogun with my dad, says RTNZ. The 2024 remake got so many things wrong. Chamberlain, Mifune, and Shimada were just much better in these roles. Yeah, I didn't finish it. I probably should. The remake, rather. I saw the Richard Chamberlain one a million times. Third Poop with Kuber says, Frodo was 33 when he was introduced and 50 when he left the Shire. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I am not ashamed to not always know these things because I am not God. I can't remember everything. I do my best, but knowing the lore, I mean, if you're talking about Silmarillion, Hobbit, Lord of the Rings, it's worse than the Bible in many ways. It's hard. It's hard. It's got a lot of material. Thank you so much for that information. So we're talking a good, nearly 20 years in between. I said 40 years, 30 years, but yeah, that's about right. He was 33 when he was introduced and 50 when he left the Shire. But Hobbit years are a little bit different. Hello, everyone coming in. Thank you for being here. I agree 100% about Shogun. Oh, they're agreeing there. Ubaldo says, The movie theater I watched The Fellowship has an extremely high ceiling entrance. They had 20 feet main character posters, which was impressive and memorable. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Oh my gosh, that is so cool. I did any of you get the Burger King glasses, like proper glasses? I did. And their meals, I ate so much Burger King back then to get those. That was before we had eBay, or if we did have eBay, it wasn't as accessible. I did all that. I kept them. They lit up. Hard Poops Caber says, oh, to RRTNZ, I wish they had shown the scouring of the Shire, but I also wish they had figured out how to show Bombadil. Indeed. And of course, the Rings of Prime do not count. Citizen Ronan says, I was very fortunate that I had a great aunt who was a big fantasy sci-fi fan. She gave my brother and I the Lord of the Rings books when we were very young, so I had read them when I was around 8 and 9 years old. Oh, great. Or TNZ says, I only ever watched the extended versions of the Lord of the Rings. The scene that's really missing from the cinematic Return of the King was the mouth of Sauron. Indeed. Which makes their big charge even more poignant because they thought he was dead at that point. And he said, RTNC also says, I was lucky that a teacher read us The Hobbit when I was 8. Life-changing, yes. Yeah, Hobbit was the first one I read as a little kid. And then Lord of the Rings later when I was older. Best stuff ever. Yeah, good stuff. So definitely Hobbiton and the introduction of Aragorn. I think Miranda Otto says this in the commentary, the audio commentaries, that the dirtier he gets, the more gorgeous he becomes. I mean, he was so perfect as Aragorn. Very good looking, very, very, very good looking guy. And when Sean Bean was cast as Boromir, I was really excited. Now, technically, they're supposed to have darker hair, but I got over it very quickly because it was Sean Bean. And we can understand that. And they didn't break immersion because they also chose David. I'm so glad for Faramir, and because he looked like he could be Sean Bean's brother, similar hair, etc. And can we give a shout out to the hair on this? I mean, they were all definitely using some seriously awesome hair products, or at least for their wigs or something, because I mean, wavy hair and not a split end in sight. But yeah, Sean Bean, my gosh, he was so perfect. When he sacrifices himself for the hobbits and he's just fighting and he just keeps fighting so hard, and then he gets stuck like by a million arrows and he still keeps fighting, and they were all like, no, and they try to fight, but of course they're hobbits, so they can't, and they get carried off. That is like the perfect cliffhanger ever, especially if you don't know what's going to happen. I mean, what a great cliffhanger that was in the breaking of the Fellowship, and Aragorn going, we're not gonna leave them alone to despair, and Frodo going off in the water, and Sam running after him even though he can't swim. It's like, I'm going alone. He's like, of course you are, and I'm coming with you. And then he's like, I gave you a promise. I made a promise. Don't leave him, Sam Gamgee. And I don't mean to. And he goes, oh, Sam. And they hug, and then that sad, the Hobbit music. Oh, gosh. So good. Shout out to Elrond. Good times. There were lots of jokes because The Matrix had just come out, but love it. Loved Rivendell and the theme for that. Ian McKellen, he should have won the Oscar for it. He was nominated. That was the only acting nomination that they got. Yeah. RTNC says, Jackson reworked Theoden's speech before the Rohirrim charge, and wow, did it work. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. The changes that he made, for the most part, except, you know what, were forgivable. It worked better. I mean, sometimes there's things that you have to change in cinema, and I have no problem with them moving things to different parts as long as it works within the overall theme. Between that and the music, it always gives me a chill. Right now, right to ruin, and the world's ending. Yeah, and the whole death thing, that was Éomer's after he saw Theoden and Éowyn, thought Éowyn was dead. Death, and they were singing as they were doing it. I'm glad they weren't singing in the movie because I think I said at the time in our little commentaries, I think that it would have just looked like a Monty Python skit, but that still would have been cool. Yes, that was very well done. Very, very, very well done. So the ring race, they were genuinely creepy, absolutely creepy. Then the beauty in the haven of Rivendell, and then off they go. They added a little scene with Boromir showing Merry and Pippin how to fight, and you saw that they kind of got along. They were friends. They were laughing. I think that that was a much needed scene to show that he kind of had a very special affinity to them, and so when he goes to defend them, you know it worked. It was like poetry. It rhymed. Also showed that Boromir was not a bad guy. Some people think misunderstand it. It's like, no, no, he fell to the ring, but he is actually the only one that I can think of that actually fell to the ring and was able to come back. Gravy D! Yay! Howdy, Teresa. Hope you're doing well. I am doing well. Thank you for being here. So good to see you. Citizen Ronan said, I saw the Bashi 78, I think, Lord of the Ring film in the theaters. My parents took us and they thought it was the stupidest thing they'd ever seen. Oh, out loud. I loved it. As kids, I think we liked the cartoons because we were kids, but yeah, it's a little silly. Or TNZ says, yeah, Boromir's death isn't well described in the book, but Jackson made it one of the greatest heroic last stands in cinema ever, totally redeems the character for the audience. Yes, in case we were in doubt. They very wisely put his death at the end of the Fellowship of the Ring movie instead of what we saw at the beginning of the Two Towers because reasons. That was so much better. We don't actually see it, if you will, happening in the book, but you see him dead. Or no, he's not dead. Not quite dead yet. And I'm not dead yet. You see the orcs all piled around and they realize, holy crud, this man put up a fight. So brave. Everyone's saying hello to each other. We love people saying hello to each other at Miss Martin Muses. Our TNT says, wow, I saw the Bakshi film too. Or Bakshi. It was 1978 double feature with Watership Down, which scarred me for life. Yeah, that's not for kids either. It's so traumatic that the Bakshi Lord of the Rings, which had creepy monsters, didn't faze me. Yeah, back when they did double features. Boromir totally redeemed himself. Indeed, he did. Citizen Ronan said, the reason these movies worked is because they took it seriously. Mm-hmm. They didn't just treat it as fantasy. They treated it as great drama. Yeah. That reminds me of a comment that Michael Caine said about the Muppet Christmas Carol. He said he pretended he acted as though he were opposite the Royal Shakespearean Company and not a bunch of Muppets. And that informed his performance. Yes, definitely. And understood the fantasy. When you hear Jackson talking about some of the more controversial changes or some of the things that were going to happen, like Arwen at Helm's Deep, you get the sense that some of that was studio, putting a little bit of pressure on him because I think he'd said in the commentaries that if he hadn't had that Arwen at Helm's Deep, they might not have accepted it. Like they wanted to see like a woman fighter. That stuff was around back then. And thank goodness the backlash was such that they were able to cut it out because, that would have just been so silly. All right. Galadriel. Galadriel, we love Kate Blanchett in the whole scene with Frodo and the temptation that she passed the test because Galadriel was a penitent. She was not allowed to go back to the west, to Valinor because of the fall that she did when the elves fell. She chose to leave to go after the Silmarils in Middle Earth against the will of the Valar. And yeah, So she was exiled, and in her pride, when she did have an opportunity to go back, she did not. Not because of the way it was in that stupid show, okay? And though she did not partake of the kinsley, but when she passes the test, if you will, that was her redemption, and if you will, heaven was once again opened to her. She was Eve and the new Eve. Tolkien said everything he knows and feels about the Blessed Virgin Mary he put into Galadriel. Let's see. Okay, another question, says RTNZ. Two Towers film ends on an uplifting note, Helm's Deep, but the book ends on a cliffhanger. The choices of Master Samwise. What do we think about this? Better, worse, the same? Well, I think as far as movie wise, it worked. Though I was like, what happened to Shelob at the end? I think they felt it was too much, so they pushed it to the next movie. I was perfectly fine with that. And it was enough of a cliffhanger because they were like, oh, we're going to go to. I like the whole Samwise the Brave. Yeah, it was fine. Things that work in the book do not necessarily work in the movies. And remember, Tolkien saw it as one big book. It was broken up, because publishers and all that. But if you see it as one big book, it works really nicely. And those are the kind of changes that we forgive. Sometimes they gaslight us and say, "Oh, you just don't want things changes. You don't realize that things in adaptations need to be changed." It's like, no, no, no. We don't mind changes. We know they have to happen. Like this is a good example. What we mind is when you completely bastardize the source material. So yay, I think that's anything I can really say about the Fellowship of the Ring. Probably the best one. I mean, it's the one I like the best. Though the Return of King is damn good. I always felt that the best picture thing given to Return of the King and all those able to. Oh, there we go. Okay, there we go. Josh X LZ or IZ would have been dark if Frodo or Sam. Oh, from the rope they got from Galadriel. Yes, you don't play. You don't mess around with elf, especially elfish ones. Oh yeah, the way they did the elves was so good. The ethereal nature of them in the songs, and of course, they didn't feel like, oh gosh, we can't have Galadriel's husband in there. It's like no, but one of his more important scenes was cut, but you see it in the extended edition. I remember missing out on the gifts in the Fellowship of the Ring. Yes, salty traveling. See, hello there. I own 4 versions of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. One theatrical version on DVD, one on 4K, extended edition Blu-ray, and 2 extended Blu-ray sets, one unopened. And that's my measured rational position. Sounds good. I have it in 4K. See, I'm thinking of rewatching them in 4K. I haven't had a chance to watch them yet. I got a 4K TV when I had surgery. Oh my gosh, a year and a half ago now. Yikes. Yeah, so everyone got a surgery. It's like, what do you want? I want a 4K TV. Well, also that was for my birthday. I turned 50. But yeah, I'm ancient now. But yeah, that was what I wanted. But I got the 4K. So I'm thinking of doing that instead of going to the cinema. But who am I kidding? I'm going to make my way to the cinema. Part of the problem is that I have some issues with the timing. But yes, I have all of those too. Florida Poopy Scoober says, of this I am sure, he died well, achieving some good thing. Faramir says, when he saw Boromir pass by in the elven boat, his brother's face was more beautiful even than in life. Oh my gosh, it's enough to break your heart into 1,000 pieces. Gosh, it's so good. Everyone's saying hello to each other. Hello. And if this is your first time here, everyone coming in is me or went silent. Oh, am I silent? I don't think I am. The elves are a bit uppity. Well, when you've been living that long, you'll feel a little bit superior. 4K TV and 4K player, it's effing amazing. Well, yeah, well, that's what I'm gonna do. I've got both and the lot, so it's gonna happen. Greetings, my bear friend. Okay, everyone's saying greeting there. Hello. Yes, so if this is your first time here, and if you'd like to comment, if you're watching this on the replay, please go ahead and do so and share your memories. So, moving on to the Two Towers, I remember the first trailer I saw because it was like a secret trailer thing you could find on the DVD from the Fellowship of the Ring extended edition. And it's like Two Towers showed up when you could find it. And that's the first footage. And oh gosh, seeing Aragorn and Gimli, Legolas doing their running across the field, not the field, across, chasing after the hobbits. It was exactly how I imagined. I remember being so excited and then seeing that in the movie. Oh, it was so good. And you felt so sorry for Merry and Pippin. Oh, so well done. And they really did a great job, of course, with Rohan. You met for the first time in the Two Towers, Eowyn and Éomer, Wormtongue, and Theoden. I mean, it was just so well done. It's exactly the way that you imagined it. And Eowyn in her white, and this beautiful, beautiful theme, the Rohan theme, so good. Oh gosh. Oh, one thing that also was so much like in the book that just really struck me when Éomer was found Aragorn and all of them, and they're kind of circling, and it gets like a big circle, and then it gets closer and smaller, and all the horses and the way they were all synced. That was exactly the way it was described in the book, and it just looked so incredibly cool on the screen. Little details like this are just amazing. It is Biggles. Hello, Biggles. Great to see you. And everyone coming in, please share what are your memories of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the movies. Of course, we are bringing up the books because books are amazing, though primarily we're talking about the 25 years of the Lord of the Rings trilogy. The fact that I can keep watching it a bazillion times is, testament to it all. I'm looking right now at part of my wall, which is just filled with Lord of the Rings stuff. I've got the coronation set from the Return of the King, which has my man and Éowyn and Arwen, Éomer the King, and of course Aragorn the King. I have all the action figures. I have an Éowyn doll. I have an Arwen doll. Oh wait, Princess Leia is somehow up there. My Princess Leia doll. Maybe I just felt like she'd fit there better. But good times. One of these days, maybe I'll be able to show you all. We shall see. Éomer is my favorite character, says Biggles Metz. Yes, he's cool. We love Éomer here at Miss Smart Muses. Another of Jackson's genius moves, RTMZ says, was working in some of the best prose via character speeches. The beautiful far green country under a swift sunrise description of Valinor is just what Frodo saw. Yes. As he's telling that to Pippin, and they put that into the mouth of Gandalf. Wall of Lord of the Ring, nerd. Yeah, darn right. Total nerd here. That's only some of it. Sorry, I had to take a drink. Salty Traveling Sea says, I remember the first time I watched all of the extended editions and thought, how could they not include this stuff in the originals? Especially the gift giving in Fellowship of the Ring and the Houses of Healing and Return of the King and the Saruman stuff. Now I can't imagine watching the theatrical versions. Yeah. The only one that I can tolerate is the Fellowship of the Ring. Well, and the Two Towers. I can tolerate. The Return of the King is intolerable. I agree. Tora Poopit says, I kept trying to find the Lord of the Rings audiobook read by Andy Serkis, but no luck so far. Oh, do they not have it on Audible? Oh, speaking of which, Biggles just... I didn't get down to Biggles' comments, yes. I want a CD version my player can handle, says Nora Poops. Oh my gosh. I don't know if they even make them anymore, do they? Maybe you'll have to not sail the high seas. What is it when you burn them? Because that's their fault for not making them. I honestly don't know. If anyone knows, help out Snore Poopus, please. Yes, I have them. Oh, wait, you have them? You have the CDs? Or maybe the Audible. I think I have the Audible. I have the Audible of The Hobbit. He did The Hobbit, which is perfect, of course, because he's Gollum. Apology Travels, he says, I have a wall of original unopened Lord of the Rings action figure, 1/6 scale figures, and Toy Biz big boxes of scenes from the films. Yay! RRTNZ says, totally understand. I can't watch the theatricals anymore. Fellowship and Return of the King demand the extra Material. Extended Return of the King is 4.5 hours, and it doesn't feel long at all. Yeah, that's how you know that it's great. Okay, I see there. Audible, yeah. So, good times with Rohan. The return of Gandalf is just so beautiful. And the first time we hear the White Rider music, and his horse is riding the white horse, such good stuff. When they go and have an exorcism of Theoden, and he's like throws off his cloak and he's all white. That's good. This is really good stuff. Really good. I enjoy all the Rohan. I think that it was a great way of expanding it. The silliness that they put in with Arwen, and it is silly. I'm sure they had to have a contract that she had to be in all 3 movies, but where you actually see, oh, they broke up. Oh, please. What is this? Days of Our Lives. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can criticize. I will criticize. There's some silliness in there. Agreed and amen. Yeah, everyone's agreeing and amening each other. But of course, I think we can all agree what they did to Faramir, because for crying out loud, he was the only human who wasn't tempted to take the ring. And the reason was not because he was perfect. Well, he is perfect. Not because he had anything supernatural, is that he had like the natural grace, the natural wisdom to know not to be placed into the temptation of the ring. And in the book, he was like, I think I know of what you're talking about. It's like they're playing a game of chess, he and Frodo. They never want to quite say it. And Frodo, of course, doesn't run or reveal anything. And he's like, I wouldn't take the ring if it was lying along the side of the highway. And he's like, I don't want to see it. That's how he wasn't. And he's the only spiritual character in the book. Comes closest to prayer when before meals they turn toward the west. And I think they put their hands on their chest and have a moment of silence. Yes, it is a Faramir simping channel. Faramir is simping forever. Forever. And ever. Unforgivably, unapologetically, and always. But he's a great character. And I think it's great how he and Eowyn get together, the Steward and the King, best chapter ever. They simplify it in the movies, in the extended editions, but, I'll take it, and that's fine. But dagnabbit, don't they mess it up by leaving it out of the theatrical version. It was like only 2 more minutes. Come on, Jackson. It was long enough already. Helm's Deep, I think I've already mentioned this. I felt like it was a great, great battle, though not necessarily the battle Tolkien wrote, except at the end with Gandalf doing his thing. And unfortunately, we were giggling inappropriately during our read-through and review because, well, Tolkien was writing in 1950s, not in our world. So, yeah, we giggled inappropriately. So, yeah. Treebeard was okay. I mean, I think they did the best that they could with them. So hard for it to be done properly. I was disappointed, though, that at first they're like, nope, sucks to be you all. And then Pippin had to trick them into going to see Isengard. It's like, no, that was dumb. It was cooler in the book where they just ho and hum and murmur and all day and all night. And then they decide we're going to go get that effer. And it's like this big, like, force of nature that comes forth from them as they get on the move. That wasn't okay. I didn't like that. Again, Two Towers is where the biggest mistakes are made. RRTNZ says, in 2024, I met John Noble, and he was amazing. He would slip into character as Denethor and Walter Bishop from Fringe, and back to laid-back Aussie bloke. Oh, that's so cool. At a convention, I'm assuming. Yeah, I'd love to meet him. Once, like 2 years ago, David Winhelm was in America signing autographs at a convention. It was, like, up in Ohio, though. It's like, dude. Okay, RNTZ says, "I got a photo with John Noble and said to him, 'The rule of Gondor is yours and no other.' And he hugged me and said, 'That's right, mate.' What a legend." Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. Yeah, I met Sean Astin. I was working behind the scenes at a convention and got to meet him. He's a good guy too. Or at least, well, when I say they were, I still think that some of that stuff that they were doing, it was publicists and paid publicity for the Rings of Power. You haven't heard anything more about that. Like when season 2 came around, they tried a little bit to fan bait and it didn't work. We know how that goes. Yeah, so Two Towers and of course Return of the King, the Gondor theme, that's where we really hear it in all of its glory, particularly when they're going through the seven circles up to the top. Gandalf and Pippin, that was so good. Oh man, and Pippin swearing allegiance. And again, these were scenes that were needed, like more Faramir, of course. And how Pippin is wearing his armor, and oh gosh, it's so cute. The dread as they're waiting for the siege. We get Shelob. Something Jackson added that I really liked was a vision of Galadriel, which, yes, that worked out really well. That was where Sam like speaks in tongues. He calls upon Elbereth, who is also a Blessed Virgin Mary character, like calling upon a saint, and the light of Arendelle is in his hands. It was one of the gifts that Frodo got. So good times there. Let's see. John, is it XIZ or LZ or I don't know. You should have given John Noble a tomato to chew. Oh dear. RRTNC says, "You say Gondor theme and instantly I see the lighting of the beacons." Yes, that was the first time we hear it triumphantly. That incredible music swelling as they fly over the southern Alps. Those are real mountains in New Zealand's South Island. Yeah, that was great. Oh, Gondor is called for aid, and Rohan will meet them or something. Oh, and the ride of the Rohirrim. Oh, as they all ride out on the horses, just how cool that looks. Gosh darn it. Oh, man. The Siege of Gondor. Denethor losing his crap and trying to set he and his son on fire. Oh, boy. They did it really well. The charge of Osgiliath that John Noble, now I can't remember his name, Denethor did, and they knew that it was a death sentence, but they did it anyways because they're honorable. Oh gosh, I still remember when Faramir goes, "You wish it had been me instead of Boromir." And Denethor goes, "Yes, I wish that." Everyone like gasps. And it's like, yeah, and then he gets tears in his eyes. And it's like, since you were robbed of Boromir. Oh, okay. All right, thank you. We'll answer. Yes, Gondor will, or Rohan will answer. Indeed. Thank you, Biggles. That was very moving. And that's one of the rare moments we see Gandalf doing like real magic. You can see with as he comes out to shield them, and the light, gets the Nazgul. Oh gosh. Oh, and that Into the West theme. I sang that song at my grandpa's funeral. Everyone cried. It's such a great song about eternal life. All will turn to silver glass, all that. But suddenly, oh wait, no, it wasn't at that point. It was at another point, but another point of despair, sorry. And then you just hear, "Dur, dur," you hear the horn, and you realize, oh my gosh, it's Rohan. And up they all come, and you see, Aomer, and you see Eowyn, who has dressed up like a man. She's Durnhelm with Pippin because Pippin wanted to go, and they said he couldn't go because he was too small. And of course, Eowyn couldn't go because she was a chick. And there they are, and it's the sun is rising, and just like in the book. And as we've said before, the big speech is like, right now, the world's ruined, and death. And then he goes, they sounded the horn. He's like, take the king's banner down the center. And as they start off, the music starts in the cinema. When I saw that the first time, I started crying. I think that's the only time I started crying at like a cavalry charge. And then they just go and boom, they just clash with them all. That was just so good. And Aowen killing the Witch King. I mean, total awesome. A true good girl boss moment. Well, look who it is. It is Steve Kenobi. Hello, I do hope you are well. Why, yes, I am good, sir. I am talking about the most excellent Lord of the Rings trilogy, the good, the bad, and the ugly, though for the most part it was great. Everyone's saying hello to each other. Why, hello, it is Tudors 1. I just finished rewatching the extended version, best movies of all time. Indeed. Steve Kenobi says, Boromir's last fight in the extended version was awesome. Oh gosh, yeah. Everything about that. I think you were the one I was talking to. I was like, I can't talk. No, I didn't want to talk because I was still crying. I was still devastated by Boromir's death, even though I've seen it a million times. Is it different in the normal version? I think it's just less battle stuff, but in general, the gist is there. RRT and Z. There's a great pause while they wait for Theoden's response. And Rohan will answer, yes, just magic. Bernard Hill just imbued Theoden with so much authority and regret. And also, Vegan's reaction sells it. Indeed. No, Mary. Oh, Mary. Did I say Mary instead of Pippin? I know, because Pippin was mea maxima culpa, Mary. I'll donate my brain to science. Oh, look who it is. It is Dadman Walking 55. Hello, Teresa. Hey, Teresa. Love Lord of the Rings. Indeed. Steve Kenobi says, in the Lord of the Rings movies did it right. Miniatures and models mixed with CGI. Indeed. Still looks better than movies that go all CGI today. Yes. Dadman Walking 55. Quit it, Benedict. That's my cat. He's bothering me. I saw all 3 extended director cut version. Yay, in the theater back to back last year. Oh, I remember you talked about that. Best 11 hours of my life and plenty of snacks. I was going to say, that's like all day. That's crazy. I recall that the midnight release that they showed the Lord of the Rings movies, like Fellowship of the Ring, Two Towers, and timed it. Then at midnight, it was The Return of the King when they were released. But yeah, wow, that'd be great to see all 3 back to back. The way they're doing it in this re-release, it's starting on Friday. So it's Friday, Fellowship, Saturday, Two Towers, Sunday, Return of the King, but then they're kind of repeating them throughout the weekend, the next weekend. I think it's because of demand, which is great because I do want these to be successful, which is why I might go and see them. Everyone's saying hello. Everyone's saying hello back. Steek says, Boromir kills way more in the extended version. I see. You said Pippin instead of Mary. Okay, yeah, I got it. I figured I made a mistake. I was excited. Yes, cats take over all the streams. Indeed. Dadman, that is literally a hero's journey. Nice work. Yeah, it was, and I'll do it again. Yeah, I would do it. I think that would be fun, especially if it's at the cinema, which I go to frequently, where they have dinner, like it's like a restaurant. It's also great because kids can't show up. Kids under 18 because they got alcohol. So, yeah, gosh, everything about that whole Battle of Palinor Fields was just so good. And as I've already talked about before, how well they did, or rather the Houses of Healing, the scene with Aomer, when he comes upon Eowyn, that we got to see his despair that he thought she was dead, and then they're in the House of the Healing, so we see Aragorn healing her, and the pretty music, and Eowyn is there at the window, and she sees the most perfect man ever, Faramir. And so, yes, it took 2 seconds. 2 seconds, Peter Jackson. You could have kept it in the theatrical version, but I was glad it's an extended version. And then off they go, and I think we've talked about that, but we haven't mentioned too much about Gollum. I mean, I think they did great things with Gollum. I think they're overdoing it now, like the search for Gollum, like we care. Yes, Gollum was great in the movies, but that's what made him good, because at the end of the day, it is about destroying the ring and Frodo's journey. And by the time that Frodo and Sam get there, I mean, they have like poured out, especially Frodo, every last ounce of energy. Oh, let's shout out to Sam. He was the only ring bearer who willingly gave up the ring. Faramir was the only one who was not tempted by the to take the ring. Like, he never took it, but Sam was able to give it back to Frodo. So yay, Sam. In the extended version, they have a scene where Sam is like, well, we need to have enough food for the journey back. And Frodo just goes, I don't think there's going to be a journey back, Sam. It was a one-way trip, but they kept doing it. And the way they showed, so well written in the book, Frodo, again, the last full measure of every ounce that he had, and he's crawling and grasping, trying to get up there, and all they can see is darkness. And and then Sam is like, let's be rid of it then. I can't carry it for you, but I can carry you. And he picks him up, and then that music, and everyone cries. In the cinema, people cheer. And then when Frodo, I would kill him. I would have ruined everything if I were Sam, or maybe not. When Frodo was like, the ring is mine, I would have tossed him and the ring into the fire and then said, oh, Frodo didn't make it back. Oh, thank you. Yes, please be sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you have not already. And make sure you're still subscribed, because YouTube's being a weirdo again. Hey, this weekend is National Popcorn Weekend, so good reason to go see them this weekend. There we are. RTNZ says, I tried to sit through the Dark Knight trilogy when it was in the cinema here last year. I only lasted Batman Begins and The Dark Knight. Had to bail for the third film because I was too tired. Yeah, and the third one is not as good. Steve Kenobi says, the Ghost Army looked off when it attacks, but it's probably tricky to do it right. Yeah, we were talking about the scrubbing bubbles. It's really tricky, and I don't know how they could have done it differently, but you can just forgive them. The Ghost Army actually borders on being a Deus Ex Machina. Yeah, there's a debate to be had there. What does Dadman Walking say? Just sleep in the comfort of the theater, like a hotel you paid admission for. Steve Kenobi says, Frodo could have eaten Sam on the way back. Well, gosh, that's terrible. Well, I would have chucked him when he was like, the ring is mine. And then that awful music, and Sam just goes, no, you really feel his despair. Let's see. If Chuck Norris was in Lord of the Rings, he would have thrown the One Ring into the fire of Mount Doom while he was still standing in the Shire. That is a good one. That is a good one. Sisson Ronan says he would have roundhouse kicked it. Facts. Oh, we have a super chat. Yes, Precious, we do. We have a $5 super chat from Dadman Walking 55. Scariest scene was Shelob. I agree. I do not like spiders. So well done with the spider movement and wrapping Frodo up. Still hate it, but have to make myself watch. Yikes. To be honest, I close my eyes. I can't stand it. I completely agree with you. Thank you for the $5 super chat. And for that, you, sir, get a rose. Thank you very much. Oh, now Chuck Norris comments, LOL. Yeah, hey, they're the best. And hello, everyone coming. We got 25. Thank you, everyone. I do appreciate you being here. Please share your memories of the Lord of the Rings trilogy, the movies. And it's fair game to mention, of course, the books that are absolutely fantastic as well. And it's okay to criticize them. I have had a lot of criticism for different parts. They're worthy to be criticized. Not everything that was done was perfect, but and then Frodo comes along and bites off Frodo's finger to get at the ring, and then he's jumping up and down so much that he falls in, and he's so obsessed with the ring he doesn't even notice he's falling to his death. He's just looking at it with ecstasy, and then it melts. And then kaboom! Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's see. Oh, thanks for the rose. Oh, if Chuck Norris, says RGNZ, put on the One Ring, then Sauron and the orcs would have thrown themselves into the volcano. Citizen Ronan says, you can't close your eyes. Sam didn't close his eyes. No, he didn't. C. Kenobi says, Shelob scene is a plot hole. Uh-oh. Yep. Okay, let's hear it. Frodo is wearing the chainmail. The stinger hits him in the torso. Shouldn't have penetrated. Plus, the stinger was huge. Should have killed Frodo regardless of poison. Oh, well. I guess you're right. I'd need to read how it is in the book, but yeah, that's pretty big. It would. Deadman Walking says, just the way Shelob moves stealthily and hunted her prey was just giving me goosebumps. Yeah, so much like a spider. Snortapoopas Kuber says, a friend of mine was seriously arachnophobic and said he was serious panic attacks during the scene with Shelob. Yeah. Well, I wasn't having panic attacks, but I sure as heck didn't like it. And the One Ring, says Ubaldo, will never be created if Chuck Norris lived in the Shire because no one dares to compete with him. I love him. Deadman Walking says, I like seeing the mouth of Sauron in the extended edition. Yes. Really missed that in the original theatrical release. Yeah. It did a purpose that they still fought on even when they thought Frodo was dead. C. Kenobi, thank you so much. Thank you. Frodo gets stung in the leg in the book. Made complete sense. Yeah. I can understand that. Indeed. Yeah. Oh, it is really triumphant when everything blows up and they're all like, yeah, Frodo. Though on rewatch, I'm always like, well, don't they care about Sam? Because they're all crying, Frodo. And then they realize he's dead. And I'm like, does anyone care Sam's dead? But of course, he's not, because Gandalf gets on the eagles and picks him up. Woo! And Frodo wakes up in the houses of healing. It took me a long time, or rather, I'd forgotten that Frodo didn't realize that Gandalf was alive in the movies. And this is the first time he sees that he's alive, and he starts to laugh. And of course, it's a little weird how they're laughing, but we can get over that. And the hobbits come in and they're like, yay. So we see Merry and Pippin. Then I believe they do a curtain call, because you see, Gimli showing up, you see Legolas, then you see Aragorn, and then you see Sam, the whole fellowship except for Boromir. There's a part of me that likes to think maybe Faramir got to be like an honorary fellowship, because of his brother. Alrighty. Good evening, says John005. Well, good evening to you too. Let's see. Bigglesmet says, if Chuck Norris was in The Lord of the Rings, the great alliances of the past never would have come together. They would just have sent Chuck. Indeed. Dan Man Walking says, I hear that polar bears also attach the lake first. Oh my god. Oh, everyone's funny. Steve Kenobi says Gandalf arrives with 3 eagles. The third is for Gollum. Lots of people miss that. Interesting. Maybe he was hoping that Gollum could be redeemed. Tolkien said that that was like one of the great regret moments in the book when Gollum, like, almost, maybe his heart's starting to change, but then Sam comes on and goes, "Oh, what are you doing? Like, get away, you sneaky person!" He thought he was going to steal from him, and that tiny spark was unsparked. RRTNZ says she loves Vintage designed to incapacitate, not kill, because she likes fresh meat. The scene where Sam fights Shelob is thrilling. I mean, they make Sean Astin a convincing action hero for a moment. Yeah. I think what Stig is saying is the stinger was so big in the movie that would have like stabbed him. But yeah, in the books. Yeah. But once again, these are things that we completely forgive them for. I mean, that's quite all right. Quite all right indeed. Coordination scene's great. Again, like another curtain call. I think the stuff with Arwen is silly. And the only stuff I tolerate with Arwen is in the Fellowship of the Ring, and I only barely tolerate it. But this whole Arwen's dying, it's like, why? And then this whole, oh, here I am. It's like, oh, for crying out loud. Now, she was cool in the book because she had made Aragorn's banner, and it had been presented to her by the brothers. And so when he finally unfurls the king's banner, it was made by his woman. That's like what a chick does. Seek, forgive no one. Rudy is a joke. Oh, for crying out loud. You all are terrible, terrible people. I've heard the stories, Biggles Mitts. Oh my goodness. How dare you? Rudy is a great movie. But okay, the whole thing where everyone bows down before the hobbits didn't happen, but everyone cries anyways. So there. We get to see again just how spent Frodo is. And he writes his little book. Oh yeah, and they all get married, Rosie and Sam, just good stuff. But the part that gets people that don't understand what's going to happen when they're going to the West to say goodbye to Bilbo and Gandalf. And yeah, we see a Galadriel, yay, and Hellwarn. They all get on. Elrond goes off. Oh. And they're all crying because they're thinking Gandalf's going, but Frodo's kind of looking like, shifty eyes. And then Gandalf just looks at him and goes, Frodo, it's time. And then we realize that they're all crying, and then Sam hugs him, and they're crying, and we're crying. And off they go into the West, and it ends with the famous ending line where Sam just says to Rosie, well, I'm home. Good stuff, all 3 of them. I mean, just great memories. I just remember just being so excited to see the 3rd one. Oh my gosh. And seeing that in a packed cinema. Oh, everything about it was just epic. With flaws, but epic. Good times. Let's see. Seek says, Tolkien said if people think Frodo survived, they have to read it again. Dead on the inside. Yeah. Well, he could not be in this world anymore. Only heaven was a place where he could be at peace. Which is something that I think a lot of veterans of war could say as well. Damn Walking says, I'm not sure if you discussed this, but was it a good decision to leave out certain things like Tom Bombadil and the fight to recapture the Shire? I like those in the book a lot. I was okay with both of those. Didn't Jackson say, who's to say it didn't happen and we just didn't show it? I think that Tom Bombadil, I think that it would not have worked in the cinema. It would have been just going, what? It slowed down the action. I mean, in a way, in the book, it even did. You're kind of like, what's going on here? And the Scouring the Shire, I think we were fine with it in the movie. But yeah. The only way that would work is if they ever did a proper mini series of it, but we don't want them to do a mini series because we know what they would do. RNTNZ says no, Gollum was always going to betray them to get the ring. It's one of the best portrayals of a pathological addict ever written. He has moments of clarity, but overall he's an irredeemable character. Yeah. I'm just saying that in his letters he mentioned that was in him like one of the most tragic moments, Tolkien had said. But yeah, I would need to look that up. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll make a video about that if I haven't already. I'm not crying, you're crying. But yeah, I definitely see your point. Good points all. But Bigglesmet said they basically just got the swords from Aragorn instead. What? RNTNC says Galadriel says to Frodo, the quest will claim his life. It did. What she meant was that even if he succeeded, he couldn't go back and live his old life. Yeah. And as far as we knew, maybe he was going to die. Steek said, what would have happened to Gollum if Frodo had tossed the ring into the pit without Gollum dying? Would he have been taken on the ship with Frodo? No. Because he was irredeemable. Like he was so far gone. I honestly think if Frodo had tossed the ring into the pit, that Gollum would have jumped in after it, even if he knew he was going to land in the lava, or he would have murdered Frodo. But no, Gollum, he was still a murderer and all that. But gosh, these are good points. I need to get the letters out where Tolkien's talking about this, because he says it far better than I. Snortic Poopus Cooper says, and then suddenly it seemed to Frodo that Arwen turned towards him, and the light of her eyes fell on him from afar and pierced his heart. Yeah, she kind of gives Frodo the jewel. Like it wasn't called the Even Star in the book, but she gives him the jewel, which is kind of in a way like the ticket, quote unquote, to the West. Though it's not literally the case. Tolkien also talks about that in the letters, but it was definitely a meaning was to it because she was not going. She gave it to Frodo. Yeah, and she was just so beautiful. I mean, Liv Tyler was greatly cast. Sisson Ronan says, the feeling I had after seeing Fellowship walking out of the theater is that they didn't screw it up. Yeah, well, and you were just so pumped, even though it was so sad. And they treated us fans with respect. It was a great feeling. Indeed. Biggle says the hobbits got the weapons from Tom in the movies. Aragorn the hobbits got the weapons from Tom in the books. That is correct. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes, and in the movies it was Aragorn. Yeah, because since they didn't have Tom, and of course what they did in the Rings of Power, that doesn't even come close. We don't acknowledge that. RNTNZ says Gollum is Judas, as Gandalf said he had a part to play. Ooh, interesting. Without Gollum, the ring could not have been destroyed. He had to betray them because Frodo ultimately couldn't destroy the ring himself. He had a part to play, yeah. Well, and the moment that Bilbo decides not to kill Gollum in The Hobbit, Tolkien points out that's the moment that ensured the victory. It was the first step toward the ultimate victory because his compassion in saving Gollum or in not killing him in The Hobbit was what made it possible for the creator's plan to go forth. And that Frodo went as far as he could. And that was also part of the plan, if you will, because it was impossible for anyone to be able to do it. So Frodo didn't actually fail. Yeah. I think I did do a letter on that one. Sort of Poopa says, think about how quickly Bilbo aged once the ring had passed from him. Indeed. If he had survived, I think Gollum would have died very quickly once the ring was destroyed. Oh, yeah. It would have been like the dude on the third Indiana Jones movie where he rapidly aged, and just went to dust. True, Gollum was well over 500 years old, said RNTNZ. Correct. Steve Kenobi says, if Frodo had croaked at some point, would Sam have thrown the ring in if he had the chance? He already gave it away once. Yeah, I think because of that, he would have been able to. To misquote and misapply that line from the Prisoner of Azkaban when Harry Potter is like, I knew I could do it because I'd done it before. Same idea. Gosh, maybe that's a good thing. Maybe one day we'll all do a what if. You all have really made me want to do more videos on the letters of Tolkien that talk about this, because I don't think I have done but one on the Gollum issue. Oh man, aren't these great? Aren't these great? And thank you everyone that's lurking in the background. I appreciate you for being here. Leave a comment, leave a like, leave a subscribe. I like to cover good things here on Miss Smart Muses. Well, I do talk about things that really tick me off, but in general, I like to suggest good literature, good stuff, and this is it. This is it. And maybe the last great trilogy, because I don't think the current Hollywood is capable of making something like that anymore, because they don't know how to bring beauty to the screen, because they are ugly. They only know how to destroy, not create. RNTNZ says, the pity of Bilbo may rule the fate of many. Gandalf line just shows the clarity of Tolkien's vision while writing the story. Sam would throw the ring for a good cooked potato, says Citizen Ronan. Yeah, those are fun lines. I mean, it's infinitely quotable. So many things, so many things. I can definitely relate to the line from the movie where Gandalf is telling Frodo right after Frodo says, I wish none of this has happened. I wish the ring had never come to me. And Gandalf goes, so do all who, have, oh my gosh, find themselves in this position. I can't remember that exact quote, but he goes, all we have to do is decide what to do with the time that is given to us. Indeed. That is all we can do. But yeah, I definitely relate to Frodo. Like, I wish that it's never had happened. I wish a lot of things had never happened. I wish a lot of good things had never happened. Rather, I mean, my life would be so different. So different. All right. Well, once again, I want to thank everyone who's been here. This has been really a good time. Really good comments. Y'all got me thinking. But I need to go because, well, I think I have a crochet meetup I need to be at. I do, but I may or may not go because it might be too late. I'll have to see how the traffic is. But indeed, also my voice. I don't want to ruin my voice because I need it. And I've been talking pretty straight for about an hour and a half. But you know what? I really do appreciate everyone who is here. Thank you. Yeah, take care of every human. Yes, I want to, before I do my thank you litany, please stay tuned and hit that bell for Stieg and I will be doing a fistful of dollars sometime in January when we both find the time and all the stars align. That is the Western movie I have chosen, and then he gets to choose the next one. Also, I have my casual January detective challenge. Every January, I choose 10 categories from a theme because we all, many cases, have the post-holiday blues, and this gives you something to do. And when I say casual, I mean that you can fulfill it any way you want. You don't have to do all 10. You can double dip, and you can, how do I say this? I have a lot of leniency on interpretation of the categories. I have that in the community post. Also, I will be continuing with the Hedge Knight, which is, in my humble opinion, the best of George R.R. Martin's ever written. And the TV show's coming up, so I think it'll correspond with that. I will be continuing with Harry Potter probably next week. I think I'm on chapter 5. I actually don't remember, but I'll do that. I am going to be doing Wuthering Heights too. I know maybe not the chick book you were looking for, but I really feel like I would like to go through that because of the abomination that is upcoming and many others. Oh yes, I'm going to be casting the Wheel of Time, doing it properly, and more Wheel of Time content, of course, and musings and whatever comes to my fancy, whatever makes me, oh, quit it, Benedict. Laugh makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. He wants to play. Here, I'm giving him a toy. He was trying to nip at my arm. So I want to thank everyone who has come in and made this just a fantastic stream. Thank you for the super chat, Stanman Walking, for the $5 super chat, and RRTNZ for the $5 New Zealand dollar super chat. Oh, shoot. I just pushed a button. Oh, good. I didn't at least kill the stream. And everyone that has been here. And yay, FIFA 2026. Damn right. World Cup America. Let's see. Dadman Walking says, that's hard on the voice. I'm glad I could actually be here for a live stream. Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Take care of a human. So thank you, Citizen Ronan. Thank you, Dadman Walking 55. Thank you, TNZ. I did. Thank you, Biggles Mets. Thank you, Steve Kenobi. Thank you, Ubaldo. Thank you. Let's see. We had John 005. I think I said, yes, I did say Dad Man Walking. Anyone else? I said Snortopupus Kuber. Of course, we love. Wait, Snortopupus, do you have a new account? Give me a second. You're supposed to be a mod here. I think you were. Did you get a new one? Okay, I just fixed that. Let me see. I said Biggles. If I missed anyone again, it is not intentional. It's just that things move. I know I had a lot of new people in the chat. Let's see, Tutors 1, and there was another new one. Oh gosh darn it, I can't find it. But oh, there it is. Joshua I2. Thank you, Salty Traveling C. Thank you, Gravy D. And anyone else that's coming or is going to be watching on the replay, I do appreciate you. And people love the excitement for football, real football. Yes. Great stream, Teresa. Well, thank you, Citizen Rona. And please, everyone, subscribe to everyone here. Let's see. Oh, one more parting shot, RNTZ. Literally, no one could destroy the ring, and only Frodo could carry it to Mount Doom, as Galadriel says. Yes, that was Gollum's purpose, to destroy the ring, even though he didn't mean to. It was his fate, indeed. Snort has lost mid before due to YouTube playing around with people's IDs. I lost my. Oh, that's ridiculous. Yeah, I know they've been playing games, like I said. So please make sure that you are all subscribed. Now I know that Mrs. Dadman Walking was live earlier. I don't know if she still is. Let me see. She was playing a game or something. Let's see. Mrs. Dadman Walking. And oh yeah, and if you like or are wishing to have the Catholic Splaining has moved to its own channel. So if you are interested in Catholic content, my Catholic content, that's where it is. It's in Catholic Splaining. Oh, Madai happened on my channel too. Okay, well I have corrected that. Oh, she is not here. Okay. Or she's not live anymore. So let me see. Let me just put this out here. Catholic Splaining. If that is something you like, though, I have left my material here on the Miss Martin Muses channel that was there previously, because you know how YouTube doesn't like that kind of stuff, or if they'll say like I'm stealing it, or I don't know, or whatever the weird AI thing that is taking over humanity will do for all of us. So once again, if that is something that's up your alley, here we go. And again, subscribe to everybody. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great day. And be certain to watch the Lord of the Rings trilogy in the cinema if you can, and on your own if you can't.